Evening, everyone.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this Monday night. Thankfully, there's no sign of storms on either end tonight, unlike Friday. We have tested the connection and we seem to be okay, so we're absolutely delighted to bring head distiller of Isle of Harris Distillery, makers of Harris Gin, Kenny Maclean. We're delighted to have him tonight. So I think on that note, we will make sure he's still there. Are you there, Kenny?
Yes, I'm still here. How are you doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah, good.
We're fine, Kenny. How are you?
Good.
Excellent. And I know one.
Oh, fine. Yeah.
Good. So, have you got a drink there with you tonight, Kenny?
You'll have to repeat that. I think the Gremlins are going to affect us tonight. I didn't hear your question
I
now.
was just asking, have you got a drink with you tonight?
Yes, I do actually. Yes. I've got just a wee. It's a little sort of straight gin with a tiny bit of Suze liqueur in it that was left over from a white Negroni that we had at the weekend. Our international brand development manager, Rachel MacDonald, has a ceilidh with all the production team and all the staff at the distillery every Friday, a virtual ceilidh. And she sent us round a cocktail mixture that we could all have together. So I had a wee bit of that left. So I thought tonight, since it's a Monday night, I wouldn't go overboard and I would just have a wee sort of straight Harris gin with a bit of ice and that. So it's quite nice. So I'm shame you can't share it with me, but it's very nice.
Cheers, yeah. No, I know Martin had said. Yeah, indeed. And Martin had put down Kiet Tang. Is that right?
100 thanks.
Are we saying that right?
What's that?
Kiet Tang, is that right? 100 thanks?
Kiet Tang, yes.
Yes.
Kiet Tang is 100 thanks, yes.
We obviously didn't, the execution of that was terrible, sorry about that. But so, why don't we get started? Why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what you do now at Isle of Harris Distillery?
My background is very much engineering and engineering management. Different companies, British Telecom, Kodak, Cisco, and all really sort of IT technical companies. And then I got involved in engineering management. And when the distillery started, I suppose a big challenge for the distillery was to all the pumps running and all the equipment working and all that kind of thing. So I got involved as a production manager at the Isle of Harris Distillery. And I've been doing that job really for the last 5 years. And just this Christmas, my role changed to be more quality orientated. And one of my colleagues has taken over the operations management post. And I'm focusing now on spirit quality and particularly preparing for the whiskey coming online when it does. You know, hopefully it won't be too long. We won't keep you waiting too long. We've tested quite a bit of it, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's beyond our wildest dreams how it is. You know, even given our success with the gin. So that's really where I am right now, and I'm kind of just making sure the gin quality remains the same, and getting ready for the whiskey. So quite a challenge, really.
Excellent. And you mentioned even as recently as this morning you were tasting some of the whiskey. So how is that? How did that go?
I'm sorry, you'll have to repeat that. I didn't hear that question.
You mentioned, just sorry, off camera, you mentioned that you were tasting some of the whiskey as recently as this morning. So is that all going according to plan?
Yes, it is. Yes, I had well, not a tasting, a nosing. We have to remain professional, especially at 8 o'clock in the morning. So despite the reputation we have, we're not that bad. So no, I mean everything's really good with the whiskey. We're very, very excited about it, and you know we don't lose sight of the fact that the gin is where we're at right now. And the gin has taken on a life of its own, really. You know, I mean, to begin with, we were a small craft gin distillery making a small amount of gin. It's just selling and selling. It's so popular, you know, with a lot of people. It's been really, really well received. So the gin has really gone from being a small craft operation to being quite a major operation.
Yeah. And what impact would you say the distillery has had on the island and the local community?
Oh, it's had a huge impact, you know, in Harris and the Western Isles, I think. Harris has struggled to retain population, especially young people. But now we have 30 plus employed. You know, it's a huge number. Like I say, we've stepped way beyond the small craft distillery with a couple of people working, and we're now 30 people is a major employer for Harris. But not only that, but I think the sort of markets we're working in, and the example we're showing, and you know, the people we bring into the place are having a rub-off effect on other businesses, you know, where people see what's possible. And you know, there's been quite a few businesses in Harris now that have, at the same time as us and just following us, really sort of developed, you know. And so, yeah, it's having a big impact on the islands. And with that comes a lot of responsibility, of course, because being a big employer means you have that responsibility for the wider economic situation rather than just your own sort of situation. But no, it's been really positive, and it's given a lot of confidence to a lot of people just to see Harris on I always say some of the best shelves in the world, you know. And it's not sort of an old style view of Harris, you know, in black and white and some quaint pictures of thatched cottages. It's a contemporary view where there's young people working and, you know, bringing up children and just living a very contemporary life. And it's great to see our product, you know, on some of the most sophisticated bars in Europe, you know, and the world. So it's great.
And for those that don't know, can you tell us a bit about some of the botanicals that are in Isle of Harris gin?
Yeah. Oh, well, yes. I mean, it's a gin, so clearly we're going to lead with things like juniper and coriander and the, you know, angelica roots, the orris roots, things like that. We also have things like cubebs in there, you know, a spicy pepper, a very unique sort of pepper, very, very nice. And we have a bit of cinnamon in there and a bit of licorice. I suppose our unique ingredient is the sugar kelp. I mean, there's a few people, I think, using seaweed now, but I think we were the first to really use sugar kelp. And there's a really good story behind the sugar kelp. I mean, as you know, we're a whisky distillery, and part of our motto is Esse quam vidore. It's on the bottom of every bottle if you look carefully. And that's really the motto of our founder, to be, not to seem to be. Be the Harris with the Herroch. Everything we do has to be real and well grounded. So when we were making gin, it wasn't any good just to make any old gin and stack them high and sell them cheap. That would be an easy option to get them made somewhere else. So we had to have a unique Harris angle on the gin. And so we scoured the place. We had an ethnobotanist up looking for botanics, and we scoured the place. And there are things like juniper growing in Harris, but not in the kind of quantities we need. So she actually drew a bit of a blank until she went swimming one day. She was a wild swimmer as a hobby, and she happened to notice the kelp. And, you know, the story just goes on from there. It's a huge success, both in terms of the provenance to Harris, the fact that it's a maritime botanic. You know, we're an island, we're the maritime gin, and, you know, the quality it brings to the gin as well, having a natural sweetening effect and a savoury note. It's got that sweetness and that umami at the same time. And I mean, it's a complete accident that we have sugar kelp in our gin, beyond the skill of the person who saw it and thought, yeah, I can make something of this. And that was developed then in Heriot-Watt University. You know, we couldn't have asked for a better unique product. It really is the making of our gin. It's not just a gimmick. It really does do it. So these are really the botanics that we use.
That's a fantastic story. I didn't know in Thank you for sharing that. And
Yeah.
so obviously, we've been to Harris, and we were fortunate enough to visit last year. We know that you are literally a small West Coast island, Outer Hebrides. What are some of the challenges of being an island-based distillery?
I suppose the challenges that we've faced are perhaps some of the costs. If ever we need specialist people to come and visit, it's a big cost either driving up here or flying in. Whereas normally it might be a routine service visit for somebody. For us, it's a big planned occasion to have people coming up here. So that's a big challenge for us. The cost of getting dry goods here as well. Luckily, we're selling a premium product at a premium price. So there is margin there, and we can accommodate the cost of goods coming in, but also the bottles going out. So distance to market clearly is a challenge. Everything else we seem to do okay for, really. There's a lot of skills locally, whether it be in fabricating and engineering, and the islands are quite a resilient bunch. The islanders are quite a resilient bunch of people and flexible. So we get most of what we need here. So I would say the challenges are really transport costs and distance, from various things. But not too big a challenge. I think sometimes you can make too much of that, and really, if you're careful and you've got a good product and you stick to really good principles, then you'll get on okay. I mean, the customer, although there's a romance about the Isle of Harris, the quality of gin in the bottle, it doesn't matter where it was made, really. The fact that it's made here by us people, it's the quality we put into it that counts, so.
And why do you think Isle of Harris gin has proven so popular, Kenny?
I think we came into the market at just about the right time, I think, to start off with. I think there were only 5 or 6 craft Scottish gins when we came in. I mean, now you'll know yourselves, you struggle to find your own brand in a poster of the Scottish gins. And I think at the time, it was uniquely accessible to everybody. We tend not to lead with a big juniper, up front. We tend to have a balanced gin where all the flavours are in good balance. We do that through the distillation process, really, and having everything all in, so that all the flavours are well developed together and sort of consolidated together. So I think it was accessible. It was new and innovative. We've got a beautiful bottle. I mean, it's it really is leading the product. The brand is that bottle, but obviously what goes in it has to be good to sell a second bottle. And I think it is purely the quality of the gin, the quality of the bottle, and it's quality in everything, making the best of what we have. And everything we do, we try and, we say we're enemies of average. So it doesn't matter what we're doing, whether it's the marketing materials, the packaging materials. Each bottle is hand boxed with the labels put on by hand by a team of people in Tarbert who, the unsung heroes, the guys who make the box arrive absolutely beautiful. So there's a bit of anticipation. You've ordered something, it's in the post, it's arriving, you open it up, the bottle's beautiful. Well, obviously the gin has to be good as well. So it's everything together, quality all the way through the production process and the delivery process. And I think just the umami savouriness itself, people have really identified with that. It's not sweet, it's not bitter, it's just got that really savoury note to it that everybody seems to like, And I'll just have a wee one myself while I'm talking, lubricate the old vocal cords.
Yeah, you've earned your sip there. You're doing all the talking. So we obviously mentioned we visited last year. We've seen the gin still up close and a bit of the production process, but how long does it take from start to finish to distill and bottle a batch of Isle of Harris gin?
Yeah, I suppose like any other gin, we're probably talking 2 or 3 days from the when we start to macerate the botanics through to bottling. But really the process starts long before that, selecting the right botanics, making sure the kelp is properly processed and harvested. For example, we only harvest the kelp at a certain time of the year, so we have to have kelp in that 3 months for the whole year, and we do it a year in advance. So the planning starts a year beforehand, even more than a year beforehand. So a lot of people think it's so easy, you make a lot of gin very quickly, but no, I mean, we were today on a management call discussing the 2021 gin supply, 2021-22 gin sugar kelp supply. So everything's done well in advance. So.
And I guess for sort of people visiting the distillery once things get back to normal, can you tell us a bit about what they can expect when they arrive at the distillery for a tour?
Well, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. This is something that we're going to have to, think about in terms of what's happening in the world right now. Our tour was really, really fantastic, and it was so well received by everybody. I think it was one of the best tours. I say that with a lot of modesty, but I mean, it really was a fantastic tour. People get taken in to a flavour room where they get introduced to the whiskey, the new make spirit, and a sort of whiskey in general, all the flavours. Then they get taken up to the gin area where they get introduced to all the botanics, and they actually get a drink when they first come in. So the tour generally goes very, very well. And the story of gin, the story of the distillery is told, and all the technical aspects to the distillery are discussed before people go into the still room. The idea is that when people go into the still room, it's such a unique environment of sounds, smells, feel, the tactileness of various things, and it's better to let people go in and just chat and enjoy it. And you know yourself, you don't want to be bombarded with numbers and figures and percentages. It's all about the smell. At the end of the day, you're going to have a glass in your hand and you'll smell it and you'll taste it. So our tour is developed around that sort of ethos, that you can speak to the distillers, they're on hand, and it's a very relaxed atmosphere. Then people are taken out to the warehouse to see the maturing casks and the bottling side of things. So people see the whole distillery operation, and we have a shop on site and a canteen as well, where the staff drink and eat as well, so you can get a second chance to speak to people. But it's a very informal tour in a way. It tries to be friendly and unique. We have quite a few tour guides who know the process inside out and know Harris inside out. There's always as much of interest in the context of things just as the facts, So we have a lovely welcoming fire the minute you walk in the door, and it really is nice just to walk in and that fire's there. People come in and just sit there and have a cup of tea and go home. Even local people quite enjoy doing it, and they can take their dog in and sit by the fire and things like that. So I hope I'm painting a picture of a very welcoming Hebridean sort of cosy place, in very contemporary surroundings, but the welcome is there for everybody. And I think people will know that they are welcome, and we look forward to speaking to them and educating them about what we do and getting them to share our journey. We do a lot on social media. We like to connect or direct to the consumer model. Is quite unique, but it really does matter to us that we make friends. I think I mentioned before, the big boys make plenty of whiskey and plenty of gin. That's not what we're about. We're about making a unique product from Harris and sharing it with people who've got an interest in high quality products, but also the Hebrides in general and the community. That we're here to help. The whole purpose of this distillery was to help the community. It wasn't for investors to turn a quick buck or to anything like that. It really was to help the community. So that's reflected in the tour as well when you come on board.
No, I would say that we can confirm that definitely very much the case. We obviously enjoyed
Good.
our time at the distillery, and like you say, although there are 30 people employed, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's still that's still quite a small, intimate distillery compared to some of the big outfits, of course. And we deal with
Oh yeah.
we deal with the likes of Shona and Mike. It's very much we feel that community even with the people that we deal with. You're not dealing with some big
Yeah.
monster marketing team or someone who's maybe off site. I mean, everyone is pretty much there in the distillery and part of the team, aren't they? So
and obviously it's fantastic that one of the problems facing various island communities is depopulation, lack of employment for young people. So obviously the fact that the distillery's been running now for 5 years, it's obviously given a sense of there's a reason. I guess jobs when they do come up are probably like hen's teeth, and people probably want to work at the distillery because you've obviously built a fantastic reputation for how things are done.
Yeah. Yes, I think there's the direct jobs in the distillery, which is great, but there's as many other jobs, I'm sure, being created by goodwill, by confidence. I was hearing even today about a girl who used to work with the distillery in the busy times, who's gone to look for a job with someone else developing botanics and things like that, and it's great to see that. It's a spin-off. That person probably would never have thought there was a job to be had, but she's interested in that kind of thing, growing things and developing horticulture. So, there are opportunities there, and we've seen quite a few businesses flourishing in Harris as well since we started. So it's huge, just the confidence boost it gives the place.
And we talked obviously earlier about how the distillery has had an impact on the island, but looking at it from the other way, I mean, how do you think the island has influenced Isle of Harris gin and of course your yet to be released whiskey?
That's an interesting question because one of our mottos is from, with, and for the Isle of Harris. Everything we try and do is we try and be authentic and say that there is a reason for us being that is rooted in Harris itself. Now the kelp clearly is something from Harris, but more than that, the whole design of the gin and the whiskey started with, well, what is Harris? How do we put Harris in a bottle? Which is a phrase that our chairman actually once used. And the design of the stills, the malt we use, the peating levels, the cut, the whole sort of idea of the whiskey, for example, it is to represent Harris. It's been designed all the way through to represent Harris. And the gin as well. So from that point of view, the recipe and the development of the product is from Harris, but the ethos of the company is as well. I mean, it's distillery, in the distillery, and just the way we work is just, life takes time. We do things properly. We reflect on, we consider things well, not just for the immediate success, but for the long-term sort of benefit. So Harris has its way of, sometimes we call ourselves the Fank Distillery, where everybody mucks in, in the old days where there was a sheep fank, everybody would have different skills, but eventually just muck in and do things. So, yeah, I mean, it has a big influence, Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, no, that's great. That was all the questions, I guess, that we had for you, Kenny, so I hope it hasn't been too painful for you.
Not at all, no. It's good to speak to you guys. And it's a strange time at the moment with everybody disappearing all over the place. And, people are connecting up virtually everywhere, and even as a production team and a management team, we speak all the time online. Our whole ethos was direct to customer and the social distillery. So everything seems to be done online now, and so it's good to share more widely.
Absolutely. Well, no, it looks like we've got a good response. A few bottles ordered while people are on listening to you. So
Good.
yeah. So
No silly questions, I hope.
No, not at all. But no, we really appreciate that. Yeah, this has kind of taken us out of our comfort zone as well, but we're kind of getting into the swing of it now. But no, we've really enjoyed that. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. And we'll make this available, on Facebook for those that missed it live, and YouTube and all the rest of it. So hopefully a few people can catch up later as well.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
We'll let you get on and enjoy the rest of your white Negroni there. Good choice. And,
Okay.
yeah.
You guys take care.
Yeah. Cheers,
you
Kenny.
take care, Kenny.
We'll see you
Take
soon.
care. Good night.
Cheers, all of us, guys. Take care.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Right, that was great. Thanks very much to Kenny. I know there were maybe some problems hearing us at your end, but we kept our talking to a minimum, so hopefully you've managed to get the best of it there, which was Kenny.
Yeah, but obviously once things do return to sort of whatever the new normal is, and you do get an opportunity to go and visit the Isle of Harris, definitely make sure the distillery is at the top of your list of things to do, because it's a fantastic gin experience. The people are just amazing. They've been so supportive, and they're just down to earth. They're just really
Absolutely.
genuinely nice people. So yeah, they've built a fantastic brand, and they're obviously doing a fantastic things for the island as well, and representing that part of Scotland. So yeah, the more support they can get, the better.
Yeah, it's great to have them part of the Scottish gin community. So, but no, we'll leave you guys back to your Monday evening. Thank you for tuning in. We have Gaz from Schweppes on Wednesday night. So for those of you that want to know a little bit more about their new signature range of tonics, tune in 8 o'clock on Wednesday. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, take care, everyone. Stay safe, and if you are having a gin tonight, just make sure you're having it responsibly. Okay, cheers. All the best.